Hi everyone, ScrappyKathy here. I've been home for a little over a week, or not, just under a week, I guess, from the Rediscover Your Stash Secret Not Secret Kit Club retreat in Oak Harbor, Ohio. And I've been promising to do a video of my layouts done there, which were also for Calvinball. And I'm finally doing it. So these are not all of my Calvinball layouts, but they're part of the Calvinball so far. And this is the next group of layouts after the first two batches that I've done videos on. So the night before I left for the retreat, my Mind the Scrap kit came in, and I used that kit to put together this layout. It had, we had just gotten a rule for an avocado and citrus fruit and a hedgehog. We already had the camera, the globe, the star, clouds, etc. So I just kind of threw it together with everything I could see in the kit that would get me a point, and it wasn't my highest point layout. It by no means used all of them, but I just love it. I really love the kind of purpley gray look there. So very, very simple layout. I think it came together in about 15-20 minutes. Okay, first night at the retreat, we were given, as part of a challenge from Khristina Sorge, we were given a sheet of Vicki Boutin paper that had some mixed media on it. And we were just to make a layout. Nothing particular, no other rules about the layout. So using the avocado and citrus fruit and circles and butterfly and cut files and hedgehog and camera rules, among others, I put together this layout. I did some stenciling here with a clear product, and you can kind of see I also did it here, and it's on white so it doesn't show up, but I really loved how it kind of brought out the color there. All of this mixed media was Vicki Boutin's, other than this spray which I kind of got onto one of my clouds, and I had some I used a watercolor pencil and kind of did some green smudges up in here and here, just to kind of add a cool color to all of this warm color. And I brought it out again in this mint and this butterfly body. So that it was a fairly quick layout to do, although I didn't bring many supplies. That was kind of my my philosophy. I figured anything that I wanted to use I could probably borrow, pick up on the giveaway table, or do without. So many things on here were just in fact the sprays and the paste that I pulled through here were on a mixed media table that Sara Scraps had set up for us, and the stencil was one that Shannon Allor and I called our stencil because we both used it on so many layouts. So that was the first one I did at the retreat. This next one uses gifts that JoJo Kelly and MK Gunn brought and gave out to us, these wonderful treasures that were on our tables when we arrived. And I wanted to, I happened to have this beachy picture of Katie and Allie with me, and was able to tie it in with these things. There was a rule for animal print, and JoJo actually had some giraffe print washi tape, so that was cool. There's a graph paper rule, so I cut clouds out of graph paper. The cut file, there was a giant cut file that had a whole slew of butterflies. I cut this one out, backed it with vellum, which was also one of the the rules there. So this is kind of a fun layout. The girls were both 9, so that explains the number, and I fussy cut it, so that satisfied the fussy cutting rule. And I did some stamping and so forth. Most of these things that you see here were from kits that were delivered to me, or things that I borrowed, some messes that I made. Just had lots of fun. This one, sitting right behind me, was one of the 2 Sharons. This was we have there are a couple of Sharons in the group, Sharon Barrackman and Sharon Price Hutchinson, and both were in my room, and they're both people I've been wanting to meet for a long time. So Sharon Barrackman had a paper that she had gotten off the giveaway table, and it had butterflies on it, and she stitched a butterfly on the paper. So she said the tablet that she got the paper from was still out on the giveaway table. I went out there and I found this, and I found a cut-apart sheet that had this butterfly. So I stitched the butterfly, fussy cut it, and kind of used, there was a map rule in Calvinball. There was a stamping rule, the rule to use the word happy, some ribbon splatters. I have paint splatters and gold mist. I have some stamping through that same stencil that I used on the other layout. And I have wood and a hedgehog, and there's a citrus slice, and there's my avocado and a button. So the background paper here did most of the work, and I just kind of added the photo and a whole cluster of things around it, and my wood grain clouds. So I love this page, but I can't take credit for the wonderful design there. This one is probably one of my favorite pages made at the retreat. It's I had a stamp set that has the words Secret Ninja there, and I found this picture of my granddaughter Ava wearing her Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles pajamas. So keying off the green shirt, I used lots of green elements, did some hand stitching. I always love a layout that has the kind of crisscross elements there. And Ava loves palm trees, and on all of our vacations she asks me to take pictures of the palm trees. So I thought that the palm tree here matched all these green colors I had going on. So that's why it's there. It's apropos of nothing, but I like it. So another one of Ava. This one, I saw this paper, and I had actually brought these 2 photos with me. This paper is from Horizon by Paige Taylor Evans for Pink Paisley. And it's one of the kits I received as a Secret Sister gift. And it's absolutely gorgeous colors, and I thought this page kind of reminded me of the edit that Ava did to her own photo here in this picture. So I used other bits from there, some things from an old Bo Bunny collection that I found in the shop at the resort, and miscellaneous, some ribbon that was on my gift from Shannon Allor, a globe I had, some chipboard with a bowl full of lemons. So again, this was a page that came together very quickly. There was some really cute flair that was given to us by one of our sponsors. So love the colors in that page. The next layout was from I forget what the name of the challenge was, but it was one where you had numbers, and that number translated to certain rules you had to follow. And one of the rules that we had to follow, that my number caused me to have to follow, was to use 6 photos on the same page. So I only had a certain number of photos with me, and the only ones that made sense to use together were exactly 6 photos that had been taken when Barrett went on a kind of a recruiting visit to Georgia Tech. And one of the photos was of his name tag. This one was of him in front of a background that I didn't mind losing, so I fussy cut him out. I used the one of the helmets in the hallway, the entrance, this one showing the ceiling with the big GT, and here he is out at on the football field. So use this Just Add Color by Bella Boulevard paper that I had found in the shop there as a background, which satisfied my star requirement. I have some purple washi tape. I think we had a washi tape rule and a purple rule, so that fit both. Here's my animal print, and I love this boy page. I didn't have any so-called boy supplies with me, but this actually turned out really well, I thought. This is probably my all-time favorite pattern paper ever in the history of pattern paper, and I didn't do much to it. I kind of used a photo of Katie and Barrett checking out the desserts at Papacito's Cantina in Marietta, Georgia. Figured the hedgehog might be interested in those desserts too. Used a globe, some clouds, some striped paper. Used the title of Just 9 Desserts, and the 9 is in there because there's a rule for using a number in your title, and a few other little goodies, and it turned out to be one of the pages I liked the best from there. Oh, here's another one that I'm going to say I like the best. This also uses pieces from the Horizon kit that I got. My secret sister who gave me this was Sharon Barrackman, and it's just wonderful. Here's another palm tree that was from that same Bo Bunny kit, and I can see that's not very well anchored there. But I used it to back. I used one of the Horizon papers to back these butterflies, and then used other elements. I fussy cut some of these elements out of another paper to kind of reflect those colors. And there's my avocado and a lemon and a button, and there's a little hedgehog kind of sneaking in from here. And this was a cut from, I think it was a cut apart card, and I thought it would make a cute title, just Mighty Cute. And I love this picture. My son took this photo of Ava, and her face is being lit up by her device, of course. And so it's kind of what the kids all look like at any given point in the day. And so I thought that was cute. We also have a rule to use the word happy. So I had a stamp called So Happy. So I used that there. This one is another using Horizon papers. I really loved that. This was a brown bag challenge, and we got some strange items in a brown bag. We got this silver doily, a napkin from which I tore these, got this sentiment card, guest check, this little piece of paper that the colors worked really well, tag, some other items. We did not, however, get this hedgehog in that group, and I added that myself. And this wonderful stuff. And I went to I thought the pink in Katie's jacket, this is a picture of Katie singing along to Christmas carols while she and her brother were wrapping Christmas gifts several years ago. And one of the other items we got was a felt Easter egg. And mine was blue, I think. So I traded my blue for a green one, used some Neocolor crayons to make it look like an avocado. One of the gifts that we got was wrapped in a little package that had this brown print, so I let that be the seed. I used a couple enamel dots as eyes, and put him. One of the other items in the bag was this stick, so I just made him an avocado, and I titled it "Dance Like the Avocado Isn't Watching." Silly little page that I just love a lot. So managed to use everything in the bag and then some. Lots of fun. Continuing with the bright color scheme, which of course is kind of my norm, I took a black sheet of paper and I found this It's a Small World title piece up in the shop at Oak Harbor. And one of the gifts from Sharon Barrackman to everyone in the group was some this heart printed acrylic overlay, and so I backed the butterflies with that first, and then backed that with white so that it would stand out on the black paper. And I put together this layout that has a hedgehog and an avocado and a ticket and a stamped image, some ribbon, washi tape, lots of elements in the Calvinball rules. This photo is another one that Ava edited herself. It's a picture of her at Disney World, which she called for several years, called Dincy. And I've actually, what's funny is I've made layouts spelling it Dincy, that way, in deference to what she said. And I've actually had people contact me and say, you might want to correct that. I think you spelled Disney wrong. So, yep. This one was a silly one I did late at night. It was the last one for the day. I kind of tore a piece of white paper and made that my photo cluster, just putting on it the number of points I could reach and see and remember without consulting the list. So there weren't very many points. It's a picture of a selfie that my son took of himself and my grandson at the gym. Barrett is now working out. He's got some specific fitness goals for sports next year. And I just called it the RIP Squad. I had this squad word in the title, decided to play off of that. And this paper is some graphic 45 paper that I gave out in a kind of a page kit to everybody in the group, and challenging them to use it all for a prize drawing. And so this is me using some of that paper. This layout was one of the, we had a class, Sara Scraps taught a class in making your own backgrounds and using stamps and various kinds of coloring media. And I made this one, I stamped this with a Vicki Boutin from her new Color Kaleidoscope collection. I just repetitively stamped this flower in all three sizes, not worrying about whether it fully stamped or not. And my ink pad is drying up, which usually doesn't matter if I use a stamp platform like a Misty, but just stamping it with a block, it was gray, and I actually didn't mind that look, and it kind of turned out really well for the colors I chose. Those are oxide inks that I applied in some cases flat with the pad. In some cases I rubbed it on with baby wipes. In some cases I dabbed with baby wipes that had been picked up some color from some other areas. So it made a background, and I had no idea what I was going to do with it. And I'd packed up everything I was going to mail back to myself, and had no supplies on my table whatsoever other than this background. So everything else you see on, well, I had the background and I had the photo. Everything else you see on here was loaned to me, mostly by Shannon Allor and others, or I got off the giveaway table, and I'm not quite sure what's going on here. So anyway, it's all we've got points. There are not a lot of Calvinball points here, so I kind of had to work with what I had. There's an arrow point and word strips, washi tape. There's a flare and a llama, hearts, enamel dots, tag. Number in the title, and there's a picture of Katie as she was getting ready at a water park that we used to go to years ago, where she was getting ready to get up on the diving board and jump into the pool. So hence the title, 1, 2, 3, jump. Okay, this is another one that another of the backgrounds made in Sarah Scrapp's class. It was made with a wonderful Amy Tangerine traveling watercolor set that we got as a gift from the sponsors of the retreat. And I thought those drips reminded me of the ice cream cone in the photo that I had of Ava at the zoo. And there's actually a plate of glass between her and that panda bear at Zoo Atlanta, but you can't really tell. It kind of looks like she's doing that. And here is something you rarely see on my layouts, stitching. I actually drew that with pencil and then punched the holes and did the stitching and added the sprinkles to it to go. And I found not one but two bits of panda bear flair, if you will, from a Bella Boulevard kit from years ago, and made this layout. There's some sprinkles up on my rainbow there, but I kind of love that layout. Another one that I did with a background from Sarah Scrapp's class is this one, and I have to tell you, I wasn't crazy about this. She said pick some images to stamp them repetitively in colors of your choosing. So I did the yellow flowers, the pink flowers, the green leaves, the little black birds, and it kind of looked empty and open and had no idea what I was going to do with it. But she helped us select colors of, and I'm losing the name, I think it's Shimmers paints, that we dipped a brush in and did these splatters in all the colors that we had used. So you can kind of see that there are some yellow splatters and pink and gray, and they're very shimmery, as the name might imply. So in addition to that, I used some clear pasties, glittery pasties through a stencil, and I did this, I think, after I got home. So yes, I brought those two others home. This was a photo I had stopped and taken as we were picking my grandson up from school. I was so thrilled that the grape hyacinths were up. That meant that spring couldn't be far behind. So I, again, love this background, and I will definitely use that technique again. The last one that I will show you is this one, which is actually two-sided. I did I'll start with this one. I did a digital layout with as many Calvinball points as I could muster in a digital format while I was sitting at the airport on the way to the retreat. When I got home, I actually added physical product to fill out Calvinball points. And because this is an expensive sheet of 12 by 12 printer paper, I printed this photo that I took of the woods back behind the resort in Oak Harbor. And I used that as a backdrop, and I added in this, which is a scan of a watercolor piece I did for a Secret Not Secret party challenge months and months ago. And then I added these photos and did all of that digitally, and then started adding in physical product to fill out Calvinball points. So this one it's called A Perfect Retreat. This one actually is called Selfie ID. That's a selfie I took. My roommate, Susan Walsh, was picking me up from the airport. As wonderful offer, and I'm so appreciative that she did that. But she thought it might be good for us to exchange selfies so we'd recognize one another. So I thought that was kind of a cool idea, and I actually had a digital kit that said, I never thought of that. So that was a perfect word strip to add, and that's there digitally. Other things are stamped and banners added on. So it's definitely a hybrid page, a two-sided hybrid page. Okay, that's it. I'm going to end the video and I'll get this out there. I have accumulated quite a few more Calvinball layouts since I returned, and my next video will show you those. Bye.